Vault 81, one of the most important vaults I've come across in all of the Fallout games so far. Seriously, this vault is absolute fucking gold. Whether you're a new fan brought in by the massive coverage this game's got recently, or an old fan who remembers when this game was isometric and turn-based, you can both come together in the knowledge this is truly an impressive location. Now, not only does this place give us a fairly unique experience of visiting a vault that's still been in a state of use by its inhabitants, but it's also rich in lore and gives us Fallout fans plenty of theories to be working on into the future. But Roley, what do you mean? Why did you say the vault still being inhabited by its residents, albeit their descendants, is only fairly unique? Well, you see, we have visited a working vault before, but to visit that, we're going to have to Doctor Who its ass. So come with me, viewer, as we traverse space and time to visit this magical event. Come on, it's okay. Grab Roley's hand. I said grab my hand. I didn't ask you to touch that. Honestly, fucking taking liberties. It's okay. We'll move past it. I've gotten over it. This Easter egg location in Fallout 2 has a giant stone time portal called the Guardian of Forever and allows you to travel back in time. You basically go back and through your fiddling about, actually break the water chip for Vault 13 and thus start the events of Fallout. Now honestly, if you haven't already got a copy of the early Fallout games, then get your hands on them seriously. It's a totally different experience and they're fucking dirt cheap. I've put a link in the description where you can get your hands on them. Now using those links will help support the channel, but more importantly, give you access to some of the best Fallout games ever made. My personal recommendation would be Fallout 2. That's what got me hooked on Fallout in the first place. The one huge advantage Vault 81 has over this experience is we actually see people living inside and going about their lives. But to find out what really went on here, we're going to have to look past the surface as we share Vault 81's Untold story. Upon arriving at Vault 81's main door, we're greeted by their security in not a too friendly manner.
Hold it right there. Vault 81 security. I don't know where you got your hands on a working Pip-Boy, but you better start talking.
I got it in Vault 111.
Vault 111? Haven't heard of that one yet. And what sort of business are you looking to take care of here in 81?
I'm just a traveler. I thought I'd take a look around.
Is that so? And you expect me to believe that? Oh, Overseer.
Who is it, Edwards?
Ma'am, some new Commonwealth traveler. Not one of our usual traders.
Well, if someone wants in, they can earn it like everyone else. Let me speak to them. Sorry about that. Officer Edwards here was just doing his job. I'm sure you can understand our need for caution. For newcomers, we like to operate on exchange. You help us, we help you.
But I'm a fellow Vault dweller. Can't you just let me in?
Excuse me, ma'am. Before you arrived, he did say he was from Vault 111. And he's in possession of a working Pip-Boy.
Is that so? I'm going to allow it. Edwards, open the door and make the announcement. Officer Edwards and I will meet you at the entrance.
Now, this slightly xenophobic attitude towards you is shared by some of the other Vault residents as you make your way around this lovely clean location. I just want you to note that some of you may think this makes the people who live in Vault 81 bad, but that's not true at all. You see, we pick up bad habits like giving words positive or negative connotations purely through other people trying to force their politics on us. These shitty sticks they whack you with are the ist, ism and phobias like sexist, racism and, really pertinent to this example, xenophobia. What I'm saying is, the more intelligent amongst you don't jump to conclusions. They know words are just used to describe things and that people are really judged by their actions. Anyone who thinks these words are inherently bad or negative really do have shit for brains and should be avoided like genital warts. You see, the Vault 81 residents have lived in their own protective bubble all this time, not needing anyone but their own fellow citizens for anything. All they knew is outside of the vault was full of danger, be it from radiation, mutated beasts, or the worst threat of the wasteland, bad bastard people. Again, crossing over to Fallout 2, and one of the images that's burnt into my memory is the intro. It shows a vault door opening and the strangers outside then gunning them down. I know some of you will say the Enclave had the right to stand their ground and the guy waving was clearly an act of aggression, but you do get my point. It's only when we meet Vault 81's overseer, going by the name Gwen McNamara, we learn why we got in the first place.
Come on, Gwen. My guys have been working doubles for weeks now. They need a break.
Everyone's working hard right now, Cal. You think I don't know that? Just do the best with what you can. That's all I'm asking.
Fine, I'll see what I can do. But you and I both know we can't keep going on like this.
Sorry about that. As you'll soon see, we have a few maintenance projects underway. Gwen McNamara, Overseer. Welcome to Vault 81. We've never encountered a fellow Vault Dweller. Is this Vault 111 you mentioned still operational?
No. Not anymore.
I'm sorry to hear that. What happened there? Did something go wrong?
They had us cryogenically frozen in these pods, but something malfunctioned.
Oh my god. All those lives lost due to some malfunction? That's unacceptable. I suppose we've been lucky. Here, we pride ourselves on having maintained a successful vault over these past 2 centuries. We'd like to be completely self-sufficient, but there are certain resources we can't provide ourselves.
Why do you keep yourself so isolated?
Why not? We have warm beds, clean clothes, a solid roof over our heads. Our food and water are radiation-free. We don't deal with the elements or raiders. We're safe here. And for some, that safety and stability is what counts.
Aren't you curious about the Commonwealth and what it has to offer?
Of course. But my duty is to these people and keeping them safe. We receive a few select traders often enough to stay well informed. Now, I have work to do. If you need anything else, I'll be in my office.
So we learn that it's only because of a need of supplies that this place is even open. The Overseer's surname, McNamara, has been seen in the game before. In Fallout New Vegas, a certain Nolan McNamara is in charge of the Brotherhood of Steel. It's weird how these two characters share a surname and a position of power, facing the same decision. Both leaders entrusted with keeping their people safe in protective seclusion, and both with the fear of outsiders. But unlike Nolan, who has to be convinced to form a better relationship with others, Gwen has made that decision without any outside coercion. She knows she needs to form those bonds to keep the place going. The details on her personal computer tell us that the structural integrity of the vault is being brought into question. Presumably the supplies they are so desperately in need of are cement and wrenches, having seen this cunt trying to tighten the concrete walls. Now I'm no structural engineer, but I'm pretty fucking sure he's doing it wrong. I really don't know if I should mention this to someone in the vault. I mean, I don't want the guy to lose his job, but he's a fucking idiot, innit? Anyway, we'll worry about that later. The main meat to this story starts to reveal itself when a young boy named Austin Engel gets stricken with a strange illness after wandering into a long hidden area.
You have to do something, Jacob.
I'm running the test as fast as I can, Priscilla. I can't treat Austin until I know what he's infected with.
Dr. Forsyth.
Not now, Bobby. And you, stranger, will have to wait your turn. We have an emergency here. Austin got bitten by a mole rat. Isn't that enough, Jacob? There can't be that many mole rat diseases or toxins.
Rachel is examining the mole rat. Hopefully she'll find something. But these aren't ordinary mole rats. Who knows what kind of diseases they are carrying? Because he's just a child, it's affecting him more severely.
Dr. Forsyth, please. I think I found something that might help Austin.
Bobby!
Hold on, Priscilla. What is it, Bobby?
Well, you know that door Austin found? He found it because of me. I keep my private things in there. He saw me get them.
You mean your chems?
Get to the point, Bobby. What did you find in that place?
It's like a whole extra vault in there, but half ruined and caved in. There was this terminal there, so I started poking around in it. There were some notes and stuff about using mole rats to grow viruses. But they also said that they used them to make vaccines and treatments.
A secret vault? Good Lord, I've never heard of such a thing.
Bobby, you're a genius. A junkie genius. There might be a cure for whatever Austin got from that mole rat somewhere in that place. You there. How would you like to do Vault 81 a favor and possibly save my boy's life?
I would be glad to help.
I was hoping I could count on you. Bobby here will show you where he keeps his secret stash. There is a chance that somewhere in there is a cure for Austin. If you find it, bring it to Dr. Forsyth. And for Austin's sake, please hurry.
Follow me.
Before we see this secret vault within a vault, I want to show you the information on this terminal, as it will make sense of what you're about to see. So, if we look at what was outlined to be the vault's main purpose, we see that it was intended to look for a cure for all diseases. If we look at this information on its surface, we'd think kind-natured Vault-Tech were doing good looking for a cure. The only thing wrong with that is we know that's not how Vault-Tech forward rolls. There is more evidence to come that points to foul play, but even right here on this old terminal, we have our first hints that something is wrong. The private logs of the original Overseer say how they were a replacement for Vault-Tech's seemingly first choice after he became ill, and that they are shocked that they've been picked because of their personal political views. Now, having been to other vaults within the franchise, I know Vault-Tech tested for all sorts in their aptitude test, including an applicant's political views. There is information of that happening in Fallout 4, but that's an untold story for another time. I just want you to put yourself in that original Overseer's shoes for a moment. On the one hand, the work going on in the vault will save countless future lives by eradicating disease from humanity, but the cost is that you will sacrifice ethics in medicine and science, so you know that will lead to a dark place. Besides that, you'll be condemning a population to secret torture and eventual death. And on the other hand, with the action the original Vault Overseer took, you may have cost humanity its future. For a start, the scientists who didn't get the phone call would have most likely perished outside when the bombs fell. They didn't know for sure another safe haven for scientists existed where they could come up with these cures. It's this original Overseer forcing their political views on the world that has locked the fate of Vault 81, a choice they had to live with until the end, unless they've got some way of going back in time, that is. By now you're wondering what happened to the 3 scientists who were sealed up in this secret area. Did they stay normal, or did the years of isolation make them become twisted and perverted? Who knows, maybe they became such degenerates the sight of another man's hairy, sweaty ass was way too much to resist. Well, let's find out as we look into this back passage. Now, as soon as we move into this area, you notice it's in ruins, structures have been destroyed, and then it clicks. The damage caused here is probably responsible for the trouble Vault 81's been having. It doesn't take too long before we find the culprit for all this carnage, the uniquely named Vault 81 lab mole rat. But what did they want with these mole rats, we wonder, and as we search for an answer, we find one of the scientist's terminals. While it doesn't give us an answer just yet, I think it's weird to be this side of the original Overseer's choice. I mean, this is most likely the terminal they were using to contact the Overseer, so this contains a small piece of their point of view. We wind our way through this decayed structure until we meet a robot by the name Courier.
Oh, another stranger. Are you Vault-Tech security? I've waited so very patiently for you to arrive.
Who the heck are you?
I am a Contagions Vulnerability Robotic Infirmary Engineer, or CVR-IE. The human scientists call me Courier. Or more properly, they called me this when they were alive. Where are my manners? Are you Vault-Tech security?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Superb! I placed an emergency call so long ago. I was beginning to think something dreadful must have happened. I am pleased to report I completed my primary duties 83 years ago. Thousands of pathogens were grown in the mole rat hosts. Then a single broad-spectrum cure was developed to treat them all. Very satisfying work for many decades. Now, please tell me you are authorized to release me from the lab.
I am so authorized. You are released.
Superb. I had almost given up all hope of living here. I'll open the door for you. Since you are a Vault-Tech representative, I entrust you with the broad-spectrum cure I developed. If you have an equivalent to my digital Hippocratic oath, please use it quickly to prevent any undue suffering. However, be advised, there is only 1 dose left, and I can no longer make any more. If that is all, I am most eager to leave.
You only have 1 dose?
That is correct. There used to be more, but they all expired. Sadly, the organic compounds necessary to make more have all deteriorated.
You're just giving me the cure?
My primary responsibility is to obey the orders of specified Vault personnel, even if those orders violate my ethical matrix. But since you have graciously discharged me of this duty, I can give you the cure without directly disobeying my previous order. And if you happen to use the cure to save a life, then this is just a happy coincidence, no? Hopefully now I can properly further my scientific research. Since my job here is done, I think I will follow you out.
With this, we now have our answers. By not having access to humans, the scientists turned their attentions to using the mole rats as the test subjects. They focused their efforts on completing the task they'd set out to do. This was in their mind a noble task after all, and no doubt gave them a certain level of normality to their lives. It's the two terminals in this location that gives us some Fallout lore treasure. The first is the terminal you get when you first enter. It contains all the bullshit Vault-Tec was feeding these poor scientists. Like the phrase, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. If you're not triggered by that, then you're most likely the weak kind that goes along with that way of thinking. That kind of brainwashing gets you to fight against the instincts evolution has took millions upon millions of years to hardcode into your fucking DNA. When you give yourself up to this higher cause, you're stating no individual has any value, only the task at hand is to be valued. This type of collectivism makes you no better than a workaround, saying goodbye to any notion of personal rights and freedoms, as they only get in the way of this higher cause. And this is why this vault is so brilliant, because in a caged area of this very room is a computer marked Curier's terminal. Now we'll start with Dr. Collins' personal archives. Reading through these gives you a snapshot of life trapped in this cement prison. We get a mention of a woman named Lisa and how he hopes she got to a vault in DC, meaning she could have been an original dweller of one of the vaults from Fallout 3. Lisa could be her full first name, but Lisa is also used as an abbreviation for Elizabeth. More importantly, we see Dr. Collins repurposed a Mr. Handy robot as something to occupy his time and help keep the group normal. As time passed, the group took to Courier seeming human, helped along with her personality growing with time. One entry shows the Doctor notes it feels wrong to keep tuning her personality and opts to allow her to evolve naturally. Dr. Collins' last entry is quite sad and is in no doubt marking the end of the scientist's lives. Collins leaves a log that Courier is his greatest achievement and that he only hopes for her to have more experience of the outside world, expressing his sorrow that he won't be there to witness her reaction. In fact, reading Curier's entries in the terminal do give you a peek into her evolution, first forming opinions on the team of scientists, then expressing remorse as the ravages of time took its toll on their bodies and killed them off one by one. The supposed corrupt files seem to be because Courier had conflicts dealing with her emotions as she lost the men she'd grown to know. Side note, I have checked the numbers and symbols to see if they meant anything, but I drew a blank, so if anyone else wants to look into that, be my guest. The reason I said this area was so brilliant can be summarised on these two terminals. You have Vault-Tec Billy bullshitting the scientists into a higher cause, which saw them overlook the terrible things they would do for the greater good and give up all notion of an individual's rights and freedoms. Then that same group have been brainwashed into this way of thinking, then take a robot and create a free-thinking individual. Just think how those two things are juxtaposed. A robot that is very much an unthinking, unfeeling slave to whomever is in control of it. Very much a tool of collectivism like a worker ant is, set free by those who were themselves trapped in that position. If you remember when we were first greeted by Courier, she tells us how she's working on this cure-all treatment and that unfortunately this is the last one in existence. Now presumably she could make more given the right circumstances, after all the knowledge is stored in her. But what would be the cost of that information getting out? As noted on one of the terminals, just what would Vault-Tec do with this knowledge? They could possibly reverse engineer this cure-all to create the greatest disease ever known to man. She also comments at the beginning of the conversation, "Oh, another stranger," which could be the junker who used this secret vault to get high, or even the kid who took ill and is the reason we entered this location in the first place. But just think how far Courier is and how many robots, turrets and infected mole rats you have to pass to get here. They would have killed either of those two long before they got this far. We know they both came in the same secret way, the closest exit locked via a terminal, so just who the fuck was she talking about? Maybe it's Dr. Forsyth that asked for a sample of blood when you meet him. Rachel, who works with him, can be found saying it's unusual how healthy the residents are in the vault. Maybe the doctor is continuing the work that was done on the mole rats. As for those mole rats that got tested on, they weren't just your average mole rat. They'd already been genetically altered before they even entered Vault 81. You could easily say Vault-Tec knew about this inevitable war, so engineered them to be tough as a food source or of a way to get this super cure out to the people of the Waste. But the facts show Vault-Tec chose someone to be in charge of this vault, knowing they wouldn't allow the human test to be carried out. They knew the first overseer would sabotage the experiment. Vault-Tec knew the scientists had nothing to do but experiment on their genetically altered mole rats. They made the rats more aggressive, stronger. That's why they thrive in the harsh world of the radiated wasteland. A conversation with Courier confirms how one mole rat, named Clyde, was clever, broke out and even released the others.
These mole rats carry a disease. Do you know anything about it?
My poor little darlings. They were used to grow all manner of new and interesting pathogens. Then Vault citizens would be exposed to these viruses in the hopes that they would develop new antibodies. But they never got a chance to execute their plan. Clyde got out of his cage. He was smarter than the others. My sweet Clyde. He let out the others, and those poor scientists never stood a chance. Clyde's been dead for almost 2 centuries now, but his descendants have free run of the vault.
Courier goes as far as to say the mole rats were what killed the scientists. Look at the damage they've caused to the metal and concrete structures of the vault. They were never meant to be contained here. They were meant to escape and infect everyone they came across. In reality, with their search for the ultimate cure, the scientists opened Pandora's box, releasing all the evils of the world through the infected mole rats. If you know your ancient Greek mythology, you'll know that after Pandora opened the box and let all the evils of the world out, the only thing to remain was hope. And that isn't the last batch of the cure, but Courier herself. Through her existence, mankind still has hope. But hey, that's just my opinion, so join me next time as we dig a little deeper into another mystery.